Let me tell you something that most men completely misunderstand about attraction. It's not built on looks, status, or words. It's built on how she feels when she's around you. And the first, most powerful emotional button that makes a woman deeply attached, even addicted to you, is emotional safety. A woman's emotional system is like an open ocean, deep, powerful, and unpredictable. She doesn't just want a man who can swim in it. She wants a man who won't drown when the waves come. Emotional safety isn't about being soft or overly nice. It's about being a safe place, a steady presence in a world full of chaos and noise. You see, when a woman meets you, she's not consciously thinking, "Can I trust this man with my feelings?" But subconsciously, that's exactly what her heart is scanning for. She's paying attention to the small things, how you react when she disagrees with you, whether you listen when she opens up, and how you handle her emotional intensity. Every interaction is a silent test, and she's not testing your ego. She's testing your emotional depth. If she senses judgment, she shuts down. If she feels dismissed, she pulls away. But when she feels understood, when your energy says, "You can be yourself here, even on your bad days," her walls begin to crumble. That's when she starts to open up, not because she's weak, but because she finally feels safe. Emotional safety means she can express herself without fear. It means she can cry without you rolling your eyes. It means she can have an opinion without you trying to fix her. It's about you being grounded when she's not. And that steadiness, that emotional self-control, is what separates men who attract temporary attention from men who build emotional addiction. Women are not addicted to drama. They are addicted to the feeling of connection. But many men mistake emotional safety for weakness. They think, "If I'm too understanding, she'll walk over me." Wrong. Being a safe man doesn't mean you're a passive man. It means you have the strength to remain calm when emotions run high, to respond rather than react, to understand rather than argue. Let me give you an example. Imagine she's upset about something small. Maybe you forgot to call her back or you didn't notice her new haircut. If your first instinct is to get defensive, it's not a big deal. Why are you overreacting? You just killed emotional safety. But if your energy says, "I get that it hurt you, I didn't mean to, and I'll do better next time," her entire emotional state shifts. You didn't fix her problem, you made her feel seen. And here's the truth: women remember how you make them feel more than what you say. The men who truly capture a woman's heart are not the ones who say all the right things. They are the ones whose presence calms her nervous system. That's emotional safety. When she knows she can come to you without being attacked, without being belittled, she starts to open parts of herself she hides from everyone else. You become her emotional sanctuary. Her body relaxes when you walk into the room. Her voice softens when she talks to you. She begins to crave your energy because it represents peace, something she doesn't find everywhere. This is why emotional safety is powerful, and because once you provide it, she associates you with comfort, with trust, with belonging. And that's how emotional addiction begins. Not because you manipulated her, but because her mind and body start to rely on your energy for balance. But here's the challenge. Emotional safety requires self-awareness. You cannot offer peace if you live in chaos. You cannot provide emotional stability if your own emotions are constantly reactive, angry, or insecure. You can't be her safe space if you haven't built safety within yourself. So before you try to make a woman emotionally addicted to you, ask yourself, can I handle her emotions without losing control of mine? Can I listen without judgment? Can I be honest without cruelty? Can I stay calm when she's triggered? Because the answer to those questions determines the quality of your connection. True masculinity is not found in dominance, but in emotional maturity. It's in knowing that strength is not silence, it's understanding. Power is not control, it's calmness. When you can be both strong and safe, you become unforgettable. A woman might admire a man's confidence, she might respect his ambition, but she stays with the man who gives her peace. Because at the end of the day, emotional safety isn't just a button. It's the foundation of every deep connection. If emotional safety makes a woman open her heart, mystery and unpredictability make her chase it. This is the second psychological button that creates emotional addiction, and it's one that most men either misunderstand or completely destroy without realizing it. Let me explain something. A woman's emotional world thrives on curiosity. The female mind is designed to explore, to decode, to wonder. When she meets a man who's too easy to read, who gives everything away too soon, who constantly seeks validation, her emotional curiosity dies. There's no puzzle left to solve, no spark left to ignite, and that's when attraction begins to fade. Mystery doesn't mean playing games or being distant for attention. It means keeping a depth within you that she can't fully grasp, a life that exists beyond her. It's about being the man who has layers, who reveals himself slowly, not because he's hiding, but because he's intentional. You see, predictability is comforting, but too much of it kills excitement. When every text, every word, every reaction is exactly what she expects, her emotional system goes flat. But when you move with calm unpredictability, when she can't fully anticipate what you'll do next, you awaken a part of her psychology that keeps her invested. Think about it this way: if she knows you'll reply instantly every time, she won't feel the thrill of waiting. If you always agree with her, she won't feel the tension that builds attraction. If you constantly express how much you need her, she'll stop wondering whether she has to earn your energy. The key is balance. Be available, but not predictable. Be attentive, but not excessive. Be emotionally expressive, but not emotionally desperate. Mystery makes her mind replay every interaction. She starts to overthink your silences, your pauses, your tone, not because she's insecure, but because you've triggered her natural instinct to understand you. That's emotional power. You're not forcing her to chase. You're giving her something her mind wants to decode. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're on a date, and instead of oversharing your entire life story, you share one or two personal moments, deep enough to connect, but short enough to leave her wanting more. That restraint, that quiet confidence plants curiosity in her mind. She'll think about it later. She'll wonder what you're not saying. That's not manipulation. That's attraction through self-control. Mystery is rooted in emotional discipline. It's the art of revealing just enough truth to create connection while maintaining enough distance to keep her intrigued. A woman doesn't fall for what she fully understands. She falls for what she feels, but can't explain. And unpredictability adds fuel to that feeling. When you're unpredictable in your energy, not in a chaotic or inconsistent way, but in a way that shows dimension, she feels emotionally alive around you. One day you're spontaneous and playful, the next you're quiet and introspective. One moment you're teasing her, the next you're deeply present. She doesn't get bored, she stays curious. But here's the catch: unpredictability must come from authenticity, not strategy. If you fake it, she'll sense it. Real unpredictability is the byproduct of a man who's genuinely multifaceted, who has passions, purpose, and priorities that extend beyond her. When she realizes that you're not waiting around for her attention, she starts to value it more. When she feels that your happiness doesn't depend on her, she starts to crave your presence more deeply. Mystery isn't about silence, it's about substance. You don't need to say less, you need to mean more. Speak with intention, move with confidence, live with purpose. Because a man who has direction automatically becomes mysterious. She can't quite figure out what drives him, but she feels drawn to it. So many men make the mistake of thinking emotional connection is built by constant communication. They text all day, call every night, give endless reassurance. But what that really does is remove all tension. And tension is what keeps a woman emotionally addicted. When she doesn't know exactly when you'll text, when she's unsure what you'll say next, when she feels a sense of what's he thinking, Her mind remains active. And the more her mind is engaged, the deeper her emotions attach. Don't misunderstand. I'm not saying to be unreliable or cold. I'm saying stop being predictable. Stop repeating the same patterns that make her feel like she's figured you out. Surprise her with emotional depth. Show her your serious side when she expects playfulness. Be quiet when she expects flattery. Lead when she expects you to follow. That subtle unpredictability keeps her emotionally invested, and that's what makes her addicted. Because what truly captivates a woman isn't perfection, it's fascination. And fascination is born from mystery. So remember this, a woman's heart doesn't crave routine, it craves emotional adventure. And when you become the man who can give her both safety and mystery, she won't just want you, she'll need you. There's a silent force that creates emotional addiction far stronger than words, attention, or flattery, and that's presence. Most men think women need constant validation through compliments, reassurance, or praise. But the truth is, what makes a woman emotionally addicted is not what you say to her. It's how she feels seen when she's around you. Validation through presence is one of the most powerful psychological buttons you can press because it meets a woman's deepest emotional need to be understood without having to explain herself. It's the kind of validation that doesn't come from words, but from your energy, your focus, your calm attention. When a woman is in front of you, she's not just listening to your words, she's reading your eyes, your tone, your body language, your silence. She's sensing whether you're really there or just physically present. She can tell when your mind is drifting, when your attention is divided, when your energy is somewhere else. And the moment she feels unseen, something inside her begins to disconnect. But when you're truly present, when your attention doesn't wander, when your eyes lock on her not to dominate but to connect, when your body language says, I'm here, I see you, she feels something rare. She feels validated. And not the shallow validation of you look beautiful, but the deep validation of you matter. Presence is power. It's the most attractive form of confidence because it shows emotional security. When a man is fully present, he's not trying to impress, he's not performing, he's not chasing, and he's simply being. And that stillness communicates something no words ever can, that your energy is strong enough to hold space for her emotions. You see, most men listen to respond, but women remember the men who listen to understand. They can feel when you're not waiting for your turn to speak, but actually absorbing what they're saying. That kind of listening creates emotional intimacy, and emotional intimacy creates addiction. Let's be honest, in today's world, presence is rare. We live in a generation distracted by screens, notifications, and noise. Everyone's attention is fragmented. So when you offer a woman your full, undivided attention, you become magnetic. You stand out not because you say more, but because you feel more real. Imagine this. You're sitting across from her, and instead of constantly checking your phone, you're looking into her eyes. You're nodding when she speaks, not out of habit, but out of connection. You're not trying to impress her with your opinions. You're making her feel understood. In that moment, she's not just attracted, she's emotionally safe and seen. And that combination is addictive. Validation through presence means you don't need to constantly tell her who she is. You simply mirror her value back through how you treat her. Your silence, your stillness, your attention, they become a form of communication that says, I see your essence, not just your appearance. When a woman feels this kind of validation, she starts to crave it, not in a needy way, but in a soul level way, because very few people ever make her feel seen without wanting something in return. She's used to being looked at, not looked into. She's used to being heard, not understood. So when she experiences your grounded presence, she associates it with emotional peace, and that's something the mind and heart become addicted to. But here's the key. Presence can't be faked. You can't pretend to be attentive while your mind is calculating what to say next or how to impress her. Women's intuition is powerful. She'll feel the disconnect before you even realize it. True presence requires emotional awareness, the ability to be comfortable in silence, to control your impulses, to stay still in the moment without needing constant stimulation. This kind of presence doesn't just validate her, it reveals your own emotional power, because a man who's fully present is a man who's mastered himself, and that's what draws her in on a deeper level. Your calmness becomes her comfort, your focus becomes her validation, your energy becomes her emotional home. So instead of thinking, what should I say to make her like me? Shift your focus to, can I make her feel seen in this moment? Because presence is louder than words, deeper than compliments, and more lasting than attraction. When she feels your genuine presence, her nervous system relaxes, her guard drops, her heart opens. She doesn't just feel connected to you, she feels safe within herself when she's with you. And that's the highest level of emotional connection you can create. Because at the end of the day, validation isn't about saying you're amazing. It's about showing her without a single word that she's already enough. And you see it. If emotional safety opens her heart and mystery keeps her chasing, then emotional leadership is what keeps her anchored. This is the final psychological button that transforms a woman's attraction into emotional dependence. And yet, it's the one most men fail to master, not because they're weak, but because they've misunderstood what leadership actually means in a relationship. You see, emotional leadership isn't about control. It's not about dominating, demanding, or forcing her to follow you. It's about guiding the emotional tone of the connection, being the calm in her storm, the structure in her chaos, the grounding energy when emotions run wild. When you become emotionally steady, you create a vibration that her nervous system begins to depend on. And once that happens, she's not just attracted to you, she's emotionally anchored to you. A woman's emotional energy is fluid. She feels deeply, moves through moods quickly, and expresses things that men often suppress. This isn't weakness, it's her strength. But what she subconsciously craves is a man who can handle those waves without being pulled under by them. A man who can remain calm, consistent, and grounded when she's not. That's what emotional leadership is, being the thermostat, not the thermometer. Let me explain the difference. A thermometer reacts to the temperature of the room. It goes up and down depending on the heat around it. Most men live like that in relationships. If she's angry, they get angry. If she's distant, they panic. If she's emotional, they shut down. But a thermostat sets the temperature. It doesn't react, it regulates. Emotional leadership means you decide what kind of energy you'll bring into every moment, and you hold that energy steady no matter how turbulent things get. When a woman sees that kind of consistency, she begins to trust you on a deeper level. She realizes that your emotions are not dependent on hers, that you are your own source of balance. That sense of safety and authority draws her in like gravity. She might not understand why, but she feels calmer around you, more open, more feminine. That's the chemistry created by emotional leadership. It brings polarity, and polarity brings connection. At the end of it all, remember this. Women don't fall in love with what you say. They fall in love with what they feel when they're around you. The emotional connection you create is not about manipulation, tactics, or tricks. It's about understanding the psychology of presence, stability, and energy. When you know how to press these four emotional buttons, emotional safety, mystery and unpredictability, validation through presence, and emotional leadership, you're not just becoming more attractive, you're becoming emotionally intelligent. You're learning the language that women truly respond to, not words, but energy. When you give her emotional safety, she opens her heart. When you give her mystery, she chases your depth. When you give her validation through presence, she feels seen and valued. And when you give her emotional leadership, she surrenders her trust. That's not control, that's connection. It's the balance of masculine calm and emotional awareness. It's the kind of energy that says, you can be yourself here. You don't need to perform. You don't need to hide. You're safe, you're seen, and you're understood. Because at her core, every woman wants one thing: to feel deeply connected, not to someone perfect, but to someone real, to a man who doesn't run from emotion but stands firm in it, to a man who doesn't need to prove his power because his energy already speaks it. And when you become that kind of man, when your words, your presence, and your emotional intelligence align, you don't have to chase her heart. She'll come to you, not out of need, but out of natural attraction, because her mind may desire many things, but her heart will always return to the place where it feels most safe, most alive, and most at peace. So don't just try to impress women. Understand them. Don't try to control emotions. Lead them. Don't chase attention. Embody presence. Because true attraction doesn't happen when you make her think you're special. It happens when she realizes how special she feels when she's with you. That's the secret most men never learn. You don't make a woman emotionally addicted by playing games. You do it by mastering yourself. Because when you become the man who offers peace in a world of pressure, mystery in a world of noise, validation in a world of neglect, and leadership in a world of confusion, she'll never want to let you go. And that's when she doesn't just fall for you. She stays because she feels something she can't find anywhere else: home.